This is JAMB Tutorial. JAMB Tutorial is an online learning center known for its excellent and qualitative education. For excellent results in JAMB, WAEC, and NECO, enroll in JAMB Tutorial Center now. Today we are going to answer questions on 2022 JAMB past questions. Question number 1 says, the doctrine of separation of powers is associated with dash. The doctrine of separation of powers is associated with dash. The options, we have option A, Montesquieu, option B, Locke, option C, Marx, option D, Hobbes. Let us first of all explain the meaning of separation of powers. Separation of powers is defined as the division of governmental political powers that exist in any given state into the three organs of government. What the principle is saying is that the governmental power that exists in any country or nation shouldn't be allowed to consolidate or rested in one person or in one organ of government. The three organs of government in which the powers are shared are the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. They perform separate but complementary functions. Separation of powers had been in existence before Baron de Montesquieu popularized it in the year 1748 in his book titled The Spirit of Laws. Let's go back to the question. The question is, the doctrine of separation of powers is associated with dash. The answer is option A, Montesquieu is the answer. His full name is Baron de Montesquieu. His full name is Baron de Montesquieu. He's the person that is being associated with the doctrine of separation of powers. This question is question number 2. The question is, which of the following is not a mode of constitutional change? Which of the following is not a mode of constitutional change? What we mean by mode of constitutional change is that process that could help change or amendment of a constitution in a country. Which of the options is not a mode of constitutional change? We have option A, party manifesto. We have option B, formal amendment. We have option C, judicial decision. We have number D, statutory revision. Let's explain the items we have in the option. In option A, we have party manifesto. Party manifesto means programs outlined by a political party which they promise to implement if they are being voted into power. Party manifesto are programs outlined by a political party which they promise to implement if they are being voted to power. Option B, formal amendment. Formal amendment means official amendment, that process of amending a particular law. Option C, judicial decision. Judicial decision refers to a ruling or judgment made by a court of law. That decision taken or that judgment made by a court of law is what we refer to as a judicial decision. It is a formal decision on a legal matter, resolving a dispute or interpreting the law. Option D, statutory revision. Statutory revision refers to the process of reviewing, updating, and revising existing laws to ensure they remain relevant, effective, and aligned with current social needs and values. Statutory revision is that process of changing or amending some laws to make sure that they align with the current way of doing things. After explaining all the items in the option, you will find out that the right answer there is option A, party manifesto. Party manifesto is not a process of changing a constitution. It's not a process of amending a constitution. Party manifesto is not a mode of constitutional change. Rather, party manifesto means a program outlined by a political party which they promise to implement if they are being voted to power. Next question is question number 3. The question says, the major change effected by the government of Major General J.T.U. Aguiyi was the major change effected by the government of Major General J.T.U. Aguiyi was the. In the options, we have option A, abolition of federation. Option B, reposting of government officials. Option C, dissolution of board of corporation. Option D, creation of states. After the bloody military coup of 15th January 1966, led by Chukwumakaduna Nzogwu, the coup was later hijacked by Major General J.T.U. Ironsi, who later became the first military head of state in Nigeria. Ironsi later abolished the federal system of government or federation through a law called Unification Decree number 34. So the major change effected by his regime, that is the regime of JTU Ironsi, was the abolition of federation in Nigeria. Option A is the answer. Option A is the answer. Why Nigeria was divided into 12 states on May 27, 1967 by the Gowon administration. His full name is Johnson Thomas Umonnakwe Ironsi. The next question is question number 4. The question says, according to the 1976 local government reform, the chief executive of a local government council is the dash. According to the 1976 local government reform, the chief executive of a local government council is the dash. In the options, we have option A, supervisory councillor. Option B, chairman of the local government council. Option C, governor of the state. Option D, secretary of the local government. The 1976 local government reform was done under the regime of Olusegun Obasanjo, and is also the reform that recognized local government as the third-tier government in Nigeria. The right answer is option B, chairman of the local government council. This question is question number 5. The question is, a landmark of Lexington Constitution is. A landmark of the Lexington Constitution is. In the options, we have option A, creation of the post of Prime Minister. Option B, creation of a second chamber at the center. Option C, creation of the position of Speaker of the House of Representatives. Option D, removal of the Governor General as the chairman of the Federal Cabinet. Lexington Constitution is the 1954 Constitution. It is the Lexington Constitution of 1954 that established a central legislature composed of 184 representative members directly elected on the basis of single-member constituency. The North was represented by 92 members. East and West had 42 representative members each. Southern Cameroon had 6, and the Federal Territory of Lagos had 2 members. A speaker was elected from these members who could no longer serve in both the regional and federal legislatures at the same time. The answer is option C. A landmark of the Lexington Constitution is creation of the position of Speaker of the House of Representatives. Option C is the answer. This question is question number 6. The question says, delegated legislation is justified by the dash. Delegated legislation is justified by the dash. Options: option A, superior knowledge of issues by the executive. Option B, fear that public debate in parliament would endanger national security. Option C, slow and unwieldy process of decision-making in legislative house. Option D, constitutional superiority of the executive over the legislative branch of government. So let us explain the meaning of delegated legislation. Delegated legislation may be defined as rules and regulations made by other bodies or persons other than the legislature, but sanctioned by the legislature. Delegated legislation are laws made by other bodies other than the legislature. Remember that the primary assignment of legislature is to make law. So those laws made by other bodies other than them, but it's a must that they are going to sanction them, are laws called the delegated legislation. Reasons for delegated legislation. Why will other bodies make law in a country other than the legislature? Going by what we have in our options, the right answer is option C. The right answer is option C. Slow and unwieldy process of decision making in legislative house.